Jesus Christ is the antidote to self-improvement. Self-improvement as in the culture we see now, the Andrew Tates, the Hamzas, the Myron Gaines, all these different people. Okay, and we all have realized to a degree that what they've said is empty in some way. Though some haven't, but by the end of this, you'll know it's empty if you're on the edge. These people lie to you. Self-improvement, this whole culture, they all lie to you. So do lie. They produce fake results, and it actually digs you deeper in the hole that you're in before. Right? And this is not just something saying, trying to improve your life is a hedonistic thing. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is they sell you gimmicky habits first and foremost. For instance, meditation. This is more of Hamza's thing. The meditation, like sit and track your breath. You see all that and you're like, oh, you're going to get such good results from that. You're going to make $1 million if you meditate. And, Hamza had a drama recently, and it's the reason why his name's so fresh in my mind. And it was with one of his old friends. I'm not going to give the whole rehash, but the point is that these habits, this meditation, the cold shower, so on and so forth, they don't really work as well as they say they do. Like, they're cool little tidbits. They're tidbits, but they make their whole entire brand around it. Hamza's whole entire thing is meditation, cold showers, do the hard work when you don't want to. Then you have the whole discipline mantra from Andrew Tate, David Goggins, so on and so forth. Discipline, you gotta work hard, work hard, work hard, work hard. And what this leads to, for all of you guys, you probably noticed this, is you go up and you go down, you go up and you go down, you go up and you go down. It's like this huge up and down cycle of I'm doing well, I'm not doing well, I'm doing well, I'm not doing well. And that's because these people don't really understand how the mind transforms. Okay, us as Christian men, we are given a blueprint, which I'll talk more about later, that solves all these gimmicky habits, solves us all this up and down. And I'm not saying that meditation and cold showers are terrible things that you shouldn't do, but they don't even understand how it works within their own system. They don't even understand the real importance of that. Like, you ask them what meditation is, and like, well, meditation, it makes your mind, clear. That's not even the main purpose of meditating, right? You don't even know what you're doing. Okay, and I do believe in spiritual practices such as that, but it's for a bigger reason. It's not just clear your mind or discipline for the sake of, well, just work hard. To what end? To what aim? That's really one of the core points here. These people will lead you to developing a God complex. What is a God complex? A God complex is when an individual sees himself as the center of the universe. Okay? This is because when you are listening to these people, and these people are giving you advice, they don't have God with them. They aren't Christian. So what is their point? What is their reason for improving? What is the point? And when I say don't believe in God, don't come at me with, oh, well, Andrew Tate and Hamza, they talk about God. Andrew Tate drinks, promotes that stuff, he promotes sleep with a bunch of chicks, and Hamza has a Christmas tree. And he also drinks, and smokes. I don't know if he drinks, actually, he does smoke, though. And they talk about it, openly. They don't really talk about their faith much. It's really just a social thing. It's like, oh, look at me, I believe in God, it's a popular thing now. They don't actually believe in God, and they don't even claim the Christian God, which is the only true God. But let's get back to the point of a God complex. So, when you don't have God ultimately as your foundation, really everything's just driven by your own self-desire. In a way, it's hedonism. But they mask it in this cloak of virtue. But where can virtue come from if not God? God is the only place where virtue can come from. So these people, they have fake virtue, false virtue. So when they're doing these things, it just leads to them having it all revolve around their own well-being, as opposed to what's good. And the thing is with that, is that when you make things about your own well-being, and you haven't actually worked with your mind, which is people don't understand psychology. They don't even understand basic psychology. You don't understand that your desires in the moment are false desires. You just think, oh, well, I want this, but you don't actually want that. Talk more about that later. In any case, this is a perfectly seen what Hamza is doing now. And Hamza changes his mind every 3 weeks. He's been on TRT for a year and a half. The up and down cycle. Do this, do that, do this, do that. It's just ridiculous. And that's because they don't have a proper foundation. But before that, my experience with this mindset, I've been a Christian for my whole life. Started taking it seriously a few years ago. But I used to dabble a lot more in this mindset that they taught. And this is what I noticed. What I noticed is that when I was mainly following their principles, their advice, there would be a lot of moments where I would feel good. Like, oh yeah, I feel good. I'm making progress. I check something off the box. But when I would go to sleep, the same thoughts would return. And that is because of this. For self-improvement to really work, you need a foundation first. Okay? It's like building a house. This is a parable Jesus used, but in this case, it applies perfectly. When you build a house, the foundation can either be of crap or stone. When you're doing all these self-improvement habits, when you're doing all these self-improvement principles, what is the foundation? Is it just how you feel and what's going to be, quote-unquote, best for you? That's what Hamza thinks, and he changes his mind every 1 or 2 weeks. That's why he does it, because you know who doesn't change? God. God is immutable. Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Immutable. That means they don't change. They're unchanging. When you ground yourself, when you paint your foundation God, that doesn't mean you won't perfectly not change, because you are not God, but you're at least grounding yourself in principles that do not change. When Hamza grounds his principles, it's based on himself. So because of that, he always changes, because feelings change, people change, God doesn't change. So if you make your foundation God, things won't change as much, and beyond that, true transformation can only come from God, because what are we really trying to do when we're trying to do self-improvement, right? What we're really trying to do in self-improvement is to get ourselves from here to there. Improvement, go up. That requires you to look at yourself and go, you know what? This is wrong. That is wrong. I want to be better. I'm going to take these things that were wrong with me and turn them into good things. That's an act of purification. But what doctrine, under this secular concept of self-improvement, what doctrine gives you purification? What, just doing more push-ups? And listen, I work out. Okay? I take my appearance relatively seriously. So don't come at me like, oh, well, you're just like a scrawny nerd, like a sway face, who just, doesn't like working hard. I mean, look at the videos on my channel if you think that's what I'm saying. What I am saying is that ultimately, we're trying to answer a question within ourselves that we've been trying to answer our whole entire lives without realizing. Because that's the truth for all of you guys. If you haven't searched deeply within yourself, and you're not going to find it by just doing that meditation thing or taking a cold shower, there's a deep existential question in every single person that they've lived their whole entire life trying to answer for themselves. Could be, why did my dad leave me? Was I not good enough for my dad? Am I good enough? It could be, why did my mom abandon me? Why can't I get mom's love? These type of questions that are related to the deepest and darkest parts of ourselves. Those are the things that actually lead to self-improvement. Gym, all this other stuff, that comes after. If you don't do that thing first, all the stuff you're going to do is in vain, and you're just running from your own self, which you can't do. There's 2 things you can't run from: God and yourself. And when you do that, you're trying to run from yourself. And you got to confront it. You got to confront what's hard. These people never tell you that. They just tell you to brute force, go through with it, or journal about it. Journaling about it only does about 20% of that. When you become Christian, I understand that a lot of Christians don't give very good advice in this regard, but I'm trying to change that. That's why I'm making this content. What you have to understand is that when you're trying to take these things that happen to you, this dark void within you, and trying to turn into something for the good, that's turning darkness into light. Who is the light? Jesus Christ, God. So you're not going to turn darkness into light by yourself. Not truly. You can make a little bit of progress. Because ultimately, in some sense, we're all connected to God. But if you don't explicitly believe in Jesus Christ, Christianity, God, the true God, you're never really going to turn that dark part of yourself into the light. Which is ultimately the goal of self-improvement, turn the dark into the light, bad into the good. That's why Jesus Christ is the antidote. It's from only true transformation can come from Jesus. Always remember that.
This will be completely free. The education resources you have right now suck. I know because I try to educate myself every single day. The stuff you find on YouTube sucks. The stuff you find everywhere sucks. So what I'm going to say is join my free Discord. There's literally no payment. I literally don't make any money right now off of this. So I'm not trying to sell you anything, but I have a Discord channel in there called Asylum where I talk about stuff that's important, free information every single day, and there's an active community every single day for you to talk to and make a brotherhood with.